I'm about to show you a mad necromancer build for Season 3, Clinical Toxic Tyrants. I'll walk you through my original Season 2 build guide video and reveal the huge Season 3 changes as we go along. Will this build be as strong as it was in Season 2? You're about to find out. Do you want to break from mini crit builds? Then you should try this pure mini damage over time build with over 1 million DPS and close to 10,000 passive ward. You'll have a sweet unique weapon giving way over 600% increased mini damage alone and a massive minion health leech. It's already breezing through 769 corruption with suboptimal gear, so there's a lot of room to push further. And the best thing about it, you only have to move, no active skills. Welcome to the Toxic Tyrants. So, what makes this build special? Well, extreme minion ailment damage with poison as the star of the show, up to 130% minion attack speed, a unique weapon with over 600% increased minion damage alone, with up to 1100% in total, over 100% minion movement speed, nearly 10,000 passive ward, and a lot of minion health leech, and this without any critical strikes. There are several ways we juice up the damage over time for our minions, so make sure to stick around for the most important piece of the puzzle coming up soon. But first, we're running 2 melee rates juiced to the brim with size, health and damage, and this time we leave all the crit nodes alone. We go all in on ailments, 50% poison chance and poison penetration, 100% bleed chance. The bleed duration and bleed effect node doesn't hurt the setup either, and the 30% increased attack speed makes them apply ailments faster. Our golem's main job is to take the heat off of us, but we're also ramping up its ailment damage. We convert it to a fire golem before spending 5 points in the node, giving it 100% more multiplicative damage over time. A huge boost. Also, here we invest full points in attack speed, and this is highly important to apply as many ailments as fast as possible. Let's pause for a moment. I want to mention that in Season 3, minions now get more minion power per level, meaning that they will be stronger as a baseline than what they were in Season 2. This is good news. And before we unveil the most critical parts to this setup, bear with me, because we have to look at how we crank up the attack speed of these bad boys to extreme heights. Enter Infernal Shade, and this time it's not being used as a slow burning damage over time spell tormenting our enemies. No, this time we're tormenting our minions, but trust me, they love it. You see, even though they get the negative effects of the spell, they also get some insane buffs, the most important being the increased attack and movement speed per second Infernal Shade has been active. And since we spec into the unlimited duration node, the shade never expires and gives our minions the maximum buff of 72% attack and movement speed in just 6 seconds. And the node giving them haste on top also cranks their movement speed up to 102%. These buffs turn our minions into caffeinated plagues on the battlefield. But we're not done. We're still to unveil our awesome unique weapon and 2 more juicy buffs. 2 buffs that are arguably even more important. First up, Dreadshade. Let's start with the cornerstone node, Vile Ghast. This converts the Dreadshade damage buffs from necrotic to poison damage. Perfect for this build. Further, we follow the tree to end up at the node giving Dreadshade 45% more multiplicative damage when used on a Wraith. And since 2/3 of our minions are Wraiths, this is a huge boost to our damage output. Let's pause, and this time for some bad news. You see, I wish I could tell you that this node has been nerfed, but it's worse than that. This node has, well, just been removed altogether. That's right, no more 45% more multiplicative damage buff for us. But this isn't as bad as it looks. We'll cope with this just fine, and we'll tie the pieces together as we go along here. We boost this even further by going for the All for One buff, giving 40% more multiplicative damage. It removes the aura buffs, but since we only have 3 minions, all of them are buffed with 1 shade each, so this is of no relevance to us. The reduced crit chance from the Blind Fury node also doesn't hurt us. This is not a crit build, but we benefit a lot from the 40% increased attack speed this node gives us. Finally, we take the +1 max shade nodes from the Dread Shade and the Infernal Shade skill tree, so we can have 6 shades in total. 1 Dread Shade and 1 Infernal Shade for each minion. Okay, are you ready to jump into the final cherries on top here? We'll soon look at the unique weapon tying all of this together, but first let's look at our final buff that cranks up our minions' poison damage to extreme heights, Aura of Decay. Now the first thing we do is to go straight to the upper left corner here. The Plague Bearers node giving our minions 100% poison chance on hit. This is huge, because that's 1 guaranteed additional poison stack per minion hit. But it doesn't end there. The next node gives our minions 75% more multiplicative poison damage. Let that sink in. 75% more damage. Wow. But do you think we're letting our enemies off the hook with what we've seen so far? No way. Why not take away their poison resistance too? First, we take 15% of the resistance by investing full points in the vulnerability node. But this is nothing compared to the next node, the Fume Weaver. Now this additionally reduced their poison resistance 1% per 1 point of our intelligence. And since we got 97 intelligence, well, that's 97% reduced poison resistance. 112% in total with the other node. That's insane. And no wonder our minions' poison damage scales through the roof. Let's pause it for a second. I want to briefly mention that from Season 3 we'll take much less damage from Aura of Decay, or from any source of poison when Aura of Decay is active. This is a great buff for this build. And when we're this deep into the damage mechanics, sit tight, because what I'm about to tell you makes this build highly interesting for Season 3. You see, we have a very good reason to stack Vitality this time. Defensively, it gives us 6 health, 1 necrotic resistance and 1 poison resistance per point, but this time we also get 1% more multiplicative minion damage over time per Vitality, with the threshold bonus on the new Necromancer passive node Forbidden Teachings. This is a great bonus for this build, as our minions will get more damage over time per point we spec into Vitality. This applies to both the bleed and poison they inflict, which is awesome. This is why we spec into a lot of Vitality in the passive tree for Season 3, and you should consider trading the intelligence on gear for more Vitality as well. Let's continue. Okay, so we have determined our damage is great, but there's one huge problem with minion ailment build setups that we need to address. You see, there's a lot of great options for minion health leech for melee and crit setups. For instance, you got the Necro passive node giving a mind-blowing 20% of crit damage leech to health, or the Dawn of the Fall node in the Wraith tree giving up to 6%. And then there's gear, such as the Ribbons of Blood Ring giving up to 4% of minion melee damage leech to health. But how on earth do we sustain health leech for pure damage over time builds? You see, we got all of these buffs drastically reducing our minions' health constantly. Everlasting poison from Dreadshade, fire damage from Infernal Shade, and Aura of Decay poisoning them every second. Without a good minion health sustain, our minions die before we have even managed to juice them all up with the buffs. Well, one important thing we do is that we actually turn Aura of Decay into a healing aura for our minions. You see, the absence of life node heals our minions by 8% of our total missing health each second. Let that sink in, 8% of our total missing health. This means that in order to heal them, we cannot have full health. Actually, we should have as little health as possible. This is the reason we have gone for a low life setup for this build. As I mentioned in my other build guide videos, I'm a huge fan of a hybrid Warden health setup, as this gives much more gear flexibility for builds. But this time we have little choice. We need the healing benefits from Aura of Decay to sustain our minion health, and to do that we need to go for a low life setup with the Axe and Guinness body armor, last steps of the living boots, and a tier 6 missing health gained as ward per second gloves. This makes Aura of Decay in low life not just viable, but essential to the whole setup. But even though this node drastically reduced the life draining effects of our minions, it cannot alone sustain our minions' health in combat. There's no way around. We need a way to give them health leech. This is a perfect time to present a unique weapon for this build, the Lethal Concentration Spear. Now, I've already done a Necro minion build based off of the spear, taking advantage of the interesting mechanical stat giving skeleton rogues our own increased poison damage at a high applied effectiveness. But this time, we're here for a very different reason. The hidden gem of this weapon, the insane 8% poison damage leech as health. This is the final piece of our jigsaw puzzle that makes this build viable. It enables our minions to leech health while in battle, which keeps them alive with a very good minion uptime. Let's pause here, and this is a crucial pause. You see, there's a Necro passive node in Season 3 that has turned this upside down. While we previously were fully dependent on the Lethal Concentration Spear to get enough minion health leech, we can now get 5% health leech from the passive node Blood Feast. I think this might be enough health leech to sustain our minions' health, and in which case we can discard the spear altogether, since it's arguably not the perfect fit for this build. I got some intriguing ideas here, and I'll share them with you in one of the next sections coming up. Now, before we proceed, you should know that there are plenty of Season 3 Necro build guide videos coming right up, so make sure to subscribe to not miss out. Wanna go the extra mile? Support me by clicking the join button, or through the Patreon link in the video description. Thank you so much for all your support. Let's continue the original build guide video. Let's see how we fare against Aberoth. Now, we'll finish him off quite quickly, so make sure to stick around for the entire fight, as there are some highlights and important information about the build here you shouldn't miss. So, this is quite a decent start. Got him down to his first ward shield, which is a good sign that our DPS is solid. At this moment we took quite some damage, but due to our high ward it feels safe, and we can take it. Here I basically face tanked everything, and even that we managed to survive. Now we're taking a more controlled approach again. The best thing about it is our solid and steady DPS. Now, if you look at our ailment stacks, they're sitting at around 130 in total on him. That's not a lot really, but what we lack in stacks we make up for with the insane minion damage. That's why you see the ailments tick at around an average of 150,000 on him. That's the power of stacking ailment damage instead of stack count. Final slam phase now. No worries at all. The minion command button came to the rescue, and we got the minions out of the way. I use this button all of the time, by the way, to target enemies and move the minions away from telegraphed boss attacks. And from there on, we easily kept at him and crushed him to the bone. Let's pause it for a second. I want to remind you that there are plenty of Season 3 Necro build guide videos coming right up, so make sure to subscribe to not miss out. Now let's look at the new cool feature added in Season 3, Primordial items. Wow, oh wow, there are some really cool stuff going on here. I did some thinking, and as mentioned earlier in this video, I came up with an alternative to the lethal concentration spear. Now that we have 5% minion health leech from the new Necro passive node, this might be enough to ditch the spear. And since I so badly want to fit in one of the new cool Primordial uniques for this build, I say let's do it. You see, I've landed on the bones of the ancestral pack here. So what does this give us? Well, for a start, some nice implicit intelligence. +2 levels to minion skills, which actually plays a crucial part in giving our raids 100% more chance to poison on hit. And then there's this unique mechanic. When a minion hits an enemy, we have a 7 to 12% chance to gain a stack of ancestral pack. This stack lasts 7 seconds. Every stack gives 4% more multiplicative damage, 3% increased attack speed, and 2% cooldown recovery speed. And whenever we gain a stack, so does our highest level minion, which will be one of our raids. This can juice up our raids a lot, and it doesn't get worse to see that when we gain a stack of ancestral pack, we also gain 77 to 123% of our endurance threshold as ward. And we have quite a decent endurance threshold. And finally, we also get a very good ward decay threshold stat. Now back to the +2 levels of minion skills we gain from this item, because we combine this with the +3 levels to necrotic minion skills we gain from our new weapon, the Apogee of Frozen Light Sword. This amounts to a total of 5 additional skill points for our raids, and we will use this to spend full points into the Reaper's node, giving them 20 flat necrotic damage. Why? Well, remember the Vile Gas node from Dreadshade? This node gives our minions 5% chance to poison on hit for every 1 added necrotic damage, either from Dreadshade itself or its own skill tree. This means that the 20 flat necrotic damage we just added in the raid skill tree is converted to a 100% poison chance. That's wild and translates to 1 additional poison stack per hit for each of our raids. And let's say we get 2 LP on both of our new sword and offhand. We can have some really juicy attacking stats with increased minion damage over time, minion poison penetration, and increased minion damage. I think this will be a very good setup for Season 3, and I'd like to hear all of you guys' opinions on it. Leave a comment below. Like what you see with this build, make sure to hit the thumbs up like button. For the skills and passive progressions of this build, follow the detailed progression sliders in the build planner in the video description. At level 4, specialize in Summon Skeleton and go all in on damage nodes. At level 10, specialize in Summon Bone Golem. When you've unlocked the Necromancer Mastery, specialize in Summon Wraith at level 20. After 30 points invested in the Necromancer passive tree, specialize in Dreadshade. And at level 50, replace Summon Skeleton with Infernal Shade. I think this build looks at the very least as strong as it was in Season 2, both in terms of damage and defense. I hope it will actually be stronger now that we have the additional 100% poison chance for our raids, and with being able to stack vitality for both defense and more multiplicative damage over time for our minions. I'm very excited about the new Primordial unique offhand and how many ancestral pack stacks we were able to stack, and how much this plays into our defense with the ward gain for each stack as well. Exciting times for Season 3. Now, just a reminder, I got more Season 3 Necromancer build guide videos coming your way before the new season drops, so don't forget to subscribe to stay updated. And if you're hungry for more build guides right now, go ahead and click on the video card showing on the screen.